Now that we've looked at the 3 different ways to solve systems of equations, we're going to do some applications of systems of equations. So we have a metal worker has some ingots of metal alloy that are 20% copper and others that are 60% copper. How many kilograms of each type should the metal worker combine to create 80 kilograms of a 52% copper alloy? The first thing you should always do is define your variables. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to do that first. So I'm going to say that X equals the 20% alloy. And Y is the 60%. Now I'm going to take that information and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write an equation. So the first equation is going to deal with the amount. I apologize for the stylus. And so I don't know how much of the first alloy I have. I don't know how much of the second I have, but I do know that I want to have 80 kilograms. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the percents. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say 20% as a decimal is 0.2. So I'm going to have 0.2x plus 60% as a decimal is 0.6y equals 52% as a decimal is 0.52 times the amount that we want to have, which is 80 grams, or kilograms rather. Okay, and so then I can go ahead and I can actually solve this problem. You can solve using whatever method you want. I just multiplied over here 0.52 times 80. That's where the 41.6 came from. I'm going to use elimination. If you wanted to use substitution, you could go ahead and do that. So I'm going to use elimination. I'm going to multiply the top row by negative 0.2 because I want my x's to cancel out. So if I do that, I'm going to end up with negative 0.2x minus 0.2y equals negative 16. Bottom row, again, I didn't multiply by anything, so it's going to stay the same. And so then I can go ahead and I can add straight down. So if I do this, my x's cancel out. I'm left with 0.4y is equal to 25.6. You can go ahead and we can divide. So I'm going to end up with y is equal to 64. Then I can go ahead and plug back into either equation. I'm going to plug into the top one just because it looks easiest. So I'm going to have x plus 64 is equal to 80. If I subtract off 64, we're going to get x is equal to 16. Okay. Next one, we're going to do the same thing. So Mark has dimes and quarters in his piggy bank. So again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to define a variable. So I'm going to say that x stands for the number of dimes and y stands for the number of quarters. Very similar to the problem above, we're going to go ahead and we're going to write an equation for the amount and then for the value. So if I'm doing this, I'm going to say I have some number of dimes, I have some number of quarters, and in total I have 25 cents. Then I can go ahead and I can look at the value of these. So a dime is 0.10x. A quarter is 0.25y. And it told me that I want to have $4. Then I can go ahead and I can do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to multiply my top row by negative 0.10. You could multiply the top row by negative 0.25 if you wanted to, or you could get y by itself and then use substitution. It's totally up to you. So if I do this, I'm going to end up with negative 0.1x minus 0.1y equals negative 2.5. Again, bottom row is going to stay the same. You could keep the zeros in there. I just got rid of the zeros. It's the same thing. So if I go ahead and then I combine these together, if I add straight down, I'm going to end up with 0.15y equals $1.50. And then if I go ahead and divide, I'm going to end up with the fact that y is equal to 10. So I know that I have 10 quarters. Then I could go ahead and I could plug in and I could figure out how many dimes I have. So if I have x plus 10 equals 25, I can go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides, and I'm going to end up with x is equal to 15. Taking a look at the next one, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Again, I'm going to say that x stands for the cost of pizza. And y stands for the cost of fries. So this one is a little bit different. I'm going to say I bought 4 slices of pizza and 2 orders of fries, and it was $21. Then we can go ahead and say we bought 2 slices of pizza and 3 fries, and it was $16.50. Same idea as before. We can go ahead and we can multiply one of the rows by something. I'm going to multiply the bottom row here. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that row by -2, so that way my x's are going to end up canceling out. So top row staying the same. Bottom row is changing. And then we can go ahead and we can add straight down. If I do that, I'm going to end up with -4y is equal to -12. It's a -32. So -12. You're going to get y is equal to 3. So it costs $3 for pizza. Then you can go ahead and you can plug back into the equation. If you do that, you're going to end up with $3.75 for fries. And it's okay to have a decimal for this because we're talking about money. Okay, when we're doing a break-even point problem, this is something that you might use in your job, or if you're on student council, or in a club or a committee. When you're trying to figure out when you are going to break even, your first equation is your expenses, so how much you're spending on everything. Your second equation is your income. Just like before, we're still identifying what x and y stand for. So x is going to stand for our number of copies in this situation, and y is going to stand for the amount of money. So if I am looking at my expenses, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I am spending, so y equals, we are spending 90 cents per copy. Plus, we have to pay $600 for the research and the writing. We are also making money on each copy. We are charging $1.50 per copy. So these are my two equations. Then I can go ahead and we can set this up. So I'm going to just plug in wherever I see a y. So I'm going to have 0.90 x plus 600 equals $1.50 x. Then I can go ahead and solve. So I'm going to get 600 is equal to 6.60 x, or 60 cents x. And then I can go ahead and I can divide. So if I do that, I'm going to end up with x is equal to 1,000. I don't need to actually plug back in for a break-even problem. The next one we're talking about air travel here. So I'm going to talk about x being my airspeed and y being my wind speed. So we're going to talk about flying with the tailwind and with the headwind. We're using the distance equals rate times time formula. So when you do this, with the tailwind, we're going to have x plus y times 5.2. That's our rate times your time. And we know that the distance is 2,600. And then with the headwind is going to be very similar, except it's going to be x minus y times 6.5, because that's our time. And we're still flying the same distance because we're going back and forth. So then, if I want to solve this, I'm going to simplify here by, instead of distributing, which you could do, I'm going to divide this by 5.2, and I'm going to divide this by 6.5. That way I have some easier equations to deal with. So then I end up with x plus y equals 500, and x minus y equals 400. So then we can go ahead, we can add straight down. If you notice, my y's are going to cancel out. I'll switch colors here. I'm going to end up with 2x is equal to 900. So if I divide, I'm going to get x is equal to 450. So I know that that's my airspeed. And then if I wanted to find my wind speed, I'm going to use x plus y equals 500. I can go ahead and I can plug back in here. So I have 450 plus y equals 500. Again, you're going to subtract off to both sides. For the sake of space, I'm just going to fill it in. So I'm going to get y is equal to 50.